If you don't want to appear, please rename yourself and don't share your video feed. Today I will be presenting, my name is Antonio, I work for F6S, and I will have with me presenting Alberto, will be presenting some part of this, but we have a lot of members from the consortium that will be able to answer any questions you may have. The presentation will take approximately 20 to 25 minutes, and then we will have a period for questions and answers that you may have. Okay, so sorry, a lot of people are coming in, so just give me a second to allow everyone to come in, and we will start now. So what is COVIDX, or why do we have COVIDX? COVIDX is fighting or helping to fight the pandemic, which has already caused more than 250 deaths in Europe since February 2020. And the purpose of COVIDX is to narrow the gap between technological breakthroughs and being able to exploit these data, all these data sets that you have, and bring them to the market. Our mission is to connect the European digital sector and healthcare. It's connect them and help to fight against the COVID. Our major goal is to unlock the full capacity of AI and data technology to overcome the clinical challenges. So COVIDX will enable technology to providers to provide solutions to healthcare providers using the power of data to fight the pandemic. We identified 3 domains for challenges, and within each domain 2 specific challenges, and these are the ones that will be targeted by our single solutions. So, the challenges are grouped in terms of diagnosis, prognosis, and follow-up. In terms of diagnosis, we are looking for solutions to monitor early detection, innovative diagnostics. In terms of prognostics, we are targeting personalized care and remote care. And in the domain of follow-up, we are focusing on healthcare continuity and recovery. What do we offer? Financial support and validation, market acceleration program that Alberto will explain, and access to the COVIDX data sandbox. In terms of financial support and validation, our target throughout the project is to provide direct funding for 30 plus, it really depends on your budget, data solutions, which should be ready to go to the market. And the products will be validated in real world clinical sites. The solutions that we are going to fund must have CE marking or in the process to be certified. Okay. We have 2 types of solutions that we are going to fund. First, for single players or single solutions, which are SMEs that want to use or to be matched with our clinical providers of the consortium. We'll see in a moment who they are. Or we are targeting team solutions, which is 1 SME plus 1 healthcare provider. And in this case, we will provide 100K for the SME and up to 50K to the healthcare provider. So it's not 50K for both, it's 100 plus 50 for each. For the single players, we offer data and expertise from these three clinical partners. So it's Instituto Clínico Humanitas in Milan, Hospital Clínico San Carlos from Madrid, and the Karolinska Institute from Stockholm. As you know, all of them have been hardly hit by the first wave of the pandemic. They have thorough data sets on the patients. So this is the data that we can provide you to, let's say, using our terminology, play with. The team players are, again, consortiums of SMEs and healthcare providers. It's important to mention that our concept of healthcare providers covers these 5 types of institutions. So hospitals, clinics, primary care centers, telehealth operators, and assisted living facilities. So everyone that is in touch with the population, providing healthcare services, and in the case of the telehealth operators and assisted living facilities, keeping people out of the hospitals and clinics, which is one of the most important things that we want. And for these team players, we have the concept of an open challenge. So you are not bounded by the 6 challenges that we propose. You can propose any data-driven solution to fight the pandemic. And then we have the Market Acceleration Program, and I will pass the floor to Alberto.
Yep.
And let me give you control. Alberto, you are here. You have control of it.
I think it doesn't work.
It does.
Yeah. So now it works. Yeah. So thank you, Antonio, and thank you everyone for joining today in the webinar. My name is Alberto Sierra. I work at Bosonit, which is an innovation technology consultancy firm that is based in Spain. And within this project, we'll be coordinating the the whole acceleration program, mainly related with the technology part, and with the help of the rest of the consortium partners, we will be here to support you in the whole acceleration program and to help you to bring your innovations to the market in a faster way. Apart from the financial support that Antonio has already mentioned, we will be providing 2 main things within the COVID-X program. On the one hand, we have the Market Acceleration Program, which includes the technical support, business coaching, and ethical validation. And on the other hand, we have the COVID-X Data Sandbox, which is more related with the technical part. And I will mention this part of the program later on, and I will give you the link for our webinar that was this week, 2 days ago, about the more technicalities of the Data Sandbox to which you will need to interact with it. But talking more specifically about the Market Acceleration Program, we have designed a program to provide you with business and technical support to accelerate the market uptake of your products. We will provide you, as mentioned, different tools, webinars, trainings, and coaching sessions in order to know your expectations and to know your needs, understand your needs, and try to help you in the whole process that it looks like this slide. So at the beginning of the program, after the evaluation of your proposals, we will select within the 2 open calls up to 13 teams, and you will be entered into the onboarding process that it intends to provide you with trainings related to a COVID-X sandbox, because we understand that you will not know everything about the sandbox and you will need trainings about it. And there will be also some one-to-one mentoring sessions related to the sandbox. And on the other hand, regarding the business part, we will provide you, or we will try to understand your needs in order to tailor-make the program as much as possible to support you. So after this onboarding process, which will last around 1 month or 1 month and a half, we will start the program itself. And we will work in a 3 sprints based program, which means that after each sprint, you will be evaluated, your performance will be evaluated, and we will make some payments based on the performance that you have achieved, that you will achieve in in all these sprints. Regarding, each of the sprints will last 3 months, and the first one will be basically, let's say, basically focused on the KPIs definition of the full program. This will be done within the first month of the program. We will ask you to integrate with the SANDBOX, and also you will need to have or to achieve the ethical committee approval of all your clinical partners, no matter if it is the ones that are already in the consortium or the ones that you bring in the team player solutions or applications, sorry. Then in the second sprint, we will have the validation of the data model, the agreement on the IP that will be that will be an important part of your projects, as well as we will evaluate your performance based on the KPIs that you will, or the specific objectives that you set in the proposal phase. And then the third sprint will be basically focused on the completion of the feasibility study. So after this sprint, the aim is that your solutions are ready to be in the market and ready to be applied in hopefully in whole Europe. And we will also evaluate your work in terms of your specific objective set in your proposals. But now, talking about more tangible things, what is in for your startup or SME. So you will have a full mentoring program, which will be constantly monitored by our experts in the business part, which is Civita. Then after the whole program, that will consist on several webinars in different files of a business, you will be asked to fulfill some documents and make some, let's say, homeworks. And with the whole information, we will provide you after the end of the program with a business roadmap definition, which not only contains your performance during the program, but also the next steps to be in the market from the financial part, as well as for certification or legal side. We will also have some demo days and workshops, and it includes online and offline workshops. And this was indeed one of the questions that we received in the last webinar: how many offline workshops are mandatory? So it will depend on the situation of the pandemic. So we will try to make at least 2 workshops offline, but it will depend on the health situation, and we will monitor this constantly on a case by case. And we will also have inspirational talks in which you will be participating, and as well as internal experts that will provide you with some insights about any specific technology that you may want, or any specific business file. Regarding technical support, as mentioned, we had a webinar 5 days ago regarding the technical part of the program. Here is the link that you can, so you can see how it will be, that the architecture of the SANDBOX and everything, and the services that will be assigned to this SANDBOX. You can also find them in the project website. And as for the services themselves, we will have 3 technology courses in technologies that you are interested in. So as mentioned, during the onboarding process, we will assess your needs, and we will try to tailor-make this as well, these technology courses that will be provided by ourselves, by Bosonic. Then you will have general trainings on the SANDBOX. As mentioned, we understand that you are not experts on the SANDBOX that we are developing now, and that you will need some support on this. and not only there will be general trainings, but also one-to-one support sessions in case you have any doubt um, during the process of or the interoperability of the platforms, etc. So this will be, well, all this process, as mentioned, will be constantly monitored. So you will be assigned with a technical and business mentor, as well as you will have different evaluations during the whole process. And I think that's basically everything from my side. So I will be happy to answer any question at the end of this webinar, and happy to have you on board of the COVID-X program.
Thank you, Alberto. I'm trying to get control. Okay. So the next part of the webinar is on the administrative process. So you can go to our website and check all the documentation. The key document for this is the open call documents or documentation package, which includes the definition of the program, the timelines for application, for evaluation, and all definition of the program. And for applying, you need to go to the F6S platform, to a form that is available there. You can find it on the link or on the F6S platform. In that form, you will need to fill a few documents, but the templates are also available in the form. And you have to submit your application until January 27, 5 p.m., so a week from today. Any questions you may have, we are here and we'll be gladly helping you mostly through open channels. So post your questions on the F6S portal, check the answers that have already been provided, and you're good to go. In terms of the evaluation process, to be completely transparent, it's fully defined in the open call documents, but we have 6 stages. So first of all, we make an eligibility check to make sure that all the documents are properly filled, uploaded, signed. You come from EU or H2020 associated country. So that's an administrative part. Then we do the pre-screening of all the proposals, which means that we will assess if you are in scope of the call. After that, we will send the proposals to an external evaluation committee, which will rank all the proposals. And then we have this intermediate ranking and selection, where we select the top applicants to be interviewed. The purpose of the interviews is to assess if the teams or if what is written in the proposal is fully aligned with what we need and what you can provide. After this, we have a consensus meeting inside the consortium and do the matchmaking with the clinical providers for the single solutions. All the process is documented in the guide for applicants, so we will not deviate from the criteria that is mentioned there. If you have any doubts, that is our Bible to conduct the process, so it should be yours as well. In terms of project implementation, we are focused on results, so we want you to deliver, and the payments are made on the basis of that you achieve the results. So that's why on the first months, as Alberto said, you will need to agree with your mentors on the KPIs that will be used to monitor progress on the project. Our first guideline for this is what you are going to promise in the proposal. And then we will match this with the quality that is expected, and mentors will help you throughout the projects to make sure that any deviations, if they are found, are addressed and solved. So this was all for today. It was a shorter presentation than in the first webinar. So the first webinar is available for you to see. We would prefer to have a more extended Q&A session today. So there are a number of questions already in the chat. Alberto and myself will go through them. And if you want to speak, just raise your hand and go ahead. So I have one question that was sent privately to me from Adriano, and is asking if a pharma company falls in the category of healthcare provider. I would say a pharma company does not fall, because you need to be in touch with the patients. But please be aware that all the answers we are giving today are given in good faith to the best of our knowledge, but based on limited information that we are providing. So the what is mentioned in the guide for applicants is the law, or the, so we will do the best we can answering, but with this disclaimer, we don't have the full picture when you are asking questions, so it may be that something is not clear. So we have Robin. Robin is asking if you develop in your own environment and then deliver data to SANDBOX for testing. Say we have a process, do you expect us to handle the SANDBOX? So the SANDBOX, I think some of the technical partners that are here can help here, but to make clear, the SANDBOX is the mediator between your solution and the data from healthcare providers. It provides anonymization, security, so you are requested to use the SANDBOX to access data. Luis or Sophia? Sophia,
yes.
Thank you.
Yes, if I may complement what Antonio has just mentioned, indeed, consider the SANDBOX as the core data ecosystem that aggregates data from various endpoints. So data is ingested into the SANDBOX in an anonymized form, and we have released also anonymization guidelines. And then the solution brought by third parties is integrated into the SANDBOX to use the data and use also other core services of the SANDBOX, like, for example, visualization services or security services. And of course, for the first open call, the solutions are to be tested, if not bringing in another clinical partner and their own data to be tested with the clinical data provided by our clinical partners. So each solution is tested only with one instance of this clinical data or their own clinical data. But in the follow-up calls, it will be the case that this is extended and the solution can be validated also with clinical data from different data providers and sources. Using the SANDBOX, of course.
So I hope this is clear. If it's not, please raise your hand and we will follow up on this.
Oh, thank you. It was a good answer.
Okay, thank you. So Cosme is asking if the call is only for SMEs. Yes, it is. Cross Technology Solutions is asking how much work hours we need to plan for my R&D team and others to be able to participate. Okay, this is a very good question. We don't really care about how much work you do. As said, we are focusing on results. Okay, so as Alberto said, the program is structured in 3 sprints. Actually, you have one in the first sprint. In the end of the first month, you have one deliverable, I would say joint deliverable between the team and the mentors, specifying the KPIs. And of course, after this deliverable being approved, you have the first payment. And once this is done, in the end of the 3 sprints, what we will do is check if you have achieved the results proposed in your proposal and with the team. So we are not going to ask for timesheets and other justifications. Our goal is to assess your results, and that's it. I hope this clarifies. Albert, you want to go next to Nico?
Yeah. So
It's 11:18. Nico.
yeah, I have it. Yeah, so it is mainly related with the CE mark. So they are an early stage, and I think this will be a good question for everyone. So, and I will read it. So we mostly health and wellness AI data startups, and we are in early stage of getting our CE certification, as our main target does not require such. We believe we will be able to get the CE cert during the program if we were successful in the application. Are we still eligible to apply? So this is a good question because it is related with the CE mark, and we have already this question in our last webinar. So the CE certification will vary in terms of your targeted countries, which means that if your country does not require a CE mark, you will not need to have the CE mark, although we expect in your application to explain us which is your plan to overcome the CE certification in other countries, as well as your, let's say, legal and certification strategy for the future. But not having the CE mark at the time of the application will not be a no-go decision. Am I right, Antonio?
Yes. So additionally, we have this directive on, or this regulation on medical devices. So you also need to assess. I would say that is more important even than the C certification, the compliance with the regulation on medical devices, if your solution falls in the scope of a software medical device.
Thank you very much, guys.
That's it. There is another question from Olga. If a company already participating in EU program and the program is funded by the EU Commission, but not under H2020, could the company apply? So yes, indeed, but we cannot fund the same work twice, which means that if you are, so we will fund this project itself, but we cannot fund one project that is already funded by another institution or program, etc., because it will be double funding, and it is not allowed by well, not the European Commission nor from the national regulation. So you can apply if you have some public funds from another programs, but this needs to be a totally different project or a totally different concept for applying to this program.
Yeah, if I may add here, just to clarify what Alberto said in terms of project, if you can fund the same product, but do a different technical work, right? So that's the context of Alberto saying a different project. So you, you as in all European funding, as long as you don't fund the same technical work or business work twice, you can have multiple funding schemes contributing to the development of a solution, program, whatever.
That's it. So we would like to develop an evolution of our current project based on personalized healthcare. As it is not completed, how it is managed in terms of TRL level. So TRL level and CMARC are the questions of all the webinars. We are asking for TRL 7 solutions, which means that we are not funding ideas or concepts in an early stage. So we need your products to be at least in 9 months accelerated to be ready to the market. So having said that, if your current solution is nearly to TRL 7, I think it will be enough to participate in the program. Although your complete version is not in TRL 7. But here I think, Antonio, you can also add something.
Yeah, yes. The thing, and the next question is also related to TRL level. So we want to fund solutions that are hopefully working in the next 9 months, 9 to 10 months, and ready to go to the market, complying with all the certifications. So in terms of expectation, what we want to have in your application is proof that your product has completed all the steps required to be almost close to the market. And Mohammed is asking what is our criteria. So it really depends on the solution. Okay, so depending on the types of solutions that you are providing, we will need to assess if you are close to the market or not. And our goal, one of our goals is to provide you enough visibility and help you scale your business. So that's why we have in the guideline for applicants that workshops and events may be mandatory after the second sprint. So one is the evaluation, if again, as Alberto said, possible, due to the pandemic, we would like to have the evaluations of the second and third sprint collocated somewhere to create a, let's say, an event so that we all know each other. But also in the middle of the second and third sprint, you may be invited to join us and the Commission in events such as with EIT Health, so that if your solutions are really promising, we can help you scale the adoption of your solutions throughout Europe. And that's also why we have the bi-weekly meetings with mentors, so that we can flag interesting solutions as soon as possible and flag them to the Commission again, so that you can be helping saving lives across Europe. Eventually, even with the other funding schemes complementary to our program. So that's why we need solutions that are almost ready to go to the market, because the goal is to help saving lives. Hope this clarifies the TRL and C marking questions, but if you want, we have a whole pile of questions. So Albert, you want to go to the next one?
Yep. So in what way can we as a company place new products on the market after the competition as a result of participation in the project? Do we have access to the sandbox then? If not, how do we as a company secure the output of it? So yes, of course, you will have access to the sandbox, at least to access to data during the project. In which way you can place new products on the market, this is something that it needs to be addressed by you and your business strategy. We will support you within the acceleration program to know which is the correct strategy or the strategy that we think or that we believe is the best one or the suitable one for you, for your business to bring your innovation to the market and to work after this or to work after this project. But it is your, I would say, your work to place this product in the market in a real way. And how you secure the output of it, I don't really catch this question. I guess it is how you secure the output of participating in this program. So please, Robin, correct me if I'm wrong, or
Yeah. Actually, what I wonder a little bit, since we put the data into the sandbox and the sandbox is the mediator, so to say, that's basically how to secure the output of the sandbox, since I guess the sandbox is a project thing and probably afterwards, we don't know if we have access actually to the sandbox afterwards. So that's basically the question.
So
okay.
So let's pass the floor to Sophia, but our goal as a project is to develop the sandbox and secure the sustainability of the sandbox. But Sophia is the leading partner here, so maybe Sophia can help us here.
Yes, thank you, Antonio. Indeed, the goal is actually to secure the sustainability and to provide the sandbox to any commercially interested third party that wishes to push the joint results into the market, of course. This is a common goal of the project and the partners participating, following, of course, and assisting in the acceleration of pushing to market throughout the COVID project. So it's not a matter that the sandbox will not be available. Perhaps you may only wish to use some of the services and not all of the services. But what the sandbox is aiming at foremost is to provide a health data ecosystem in which interested third parties would be able to access, of course, upon the regulated type of access, the respective data necessary for validating and operating their solutions. So we are also keen on sustainability and on driving commercially the results of the projects.
Is this clear?
Okay. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Antonio.
Okay. So before going to Sophia, I think we already answered this question about no, this is, Sophia is not the it's a different scope. So you need tool again. We cannot provide an assessment if your idea or proposal is suitable for this call, mostly because we don't know your idea. Okay, so Sophia, if you ask, or not Sophia, Sonia, if you ask questions like this, it will be tricky for us to say yes or no, because we just don't know enough of your solutions. For Magnus, I will take this one and pass to Sophia. So the deployment of the sandbox now is one-on-one. So one SME will access the data on one clinical partner, but the expectation for the next version or the one that will be available for the second open call is to have a federated environment. So it may be the case that you are requested of course, using all the security and agreements and so on to share data with other partners. And that would be the value of the federating the data. But Sophia, can you also help us here?
Yes, actually, what is expected when you are joining as team players is that your clinical partner indeed ingests the data into the sandbox. And then you are given, of course, the way to integrate your solution. We developed this environment, and you can validate that your solution using this clinical data. Why is that? Because this clinical data may be of use also in an anonymized, always form to other solutions that may come later into play from second call onwards. So that's why we raised the data sandbox to be, as a prior speaker mentioned, a mediator for such types of interactions, and that the data are not only used by single solutions, but then other solutions can use the data to validate their results. Of course, always under the terms and conditions of using this data, okay? And that's why we have discussed also with our internal clinical partners, and there is an option for the sandbox to be deployed locally at the infrastructure of the clinical partner to avoid any issues, any legal issues or GDPR restrictions.
Magnus, you have opened your microphone.
Yeah.
Can I elaborate on that a little bit? So if the solution is like a software solution that collects unique data, so part of the validation with the service provider is to collect new data with that product. So that was my question and much of that could be sort of feasibility in how clinicians can use that solution. And so it's very unique type of data that is part of that that product that we are developing, and you know, can only be used with that unique data. So I'm still struggling to understand the sandbox you know, function there, and that was really my question.
Antonio, may I share my screen to showcase the level description of the sandbox?
Yes, sure. I will stop sharing mine. Please do so now, Sophia.
I was talking with a muted microphone. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. So you see, this is the sandbox. It has core data management services as well as data visualization for those interested. So actually, what we will provide is APIs to ingest data, anonymized data sets from healthcare providers, but also from medical devices. We envision as well to ingest open data sources in case some of the solutions would need to use some of the open data sources. For example, weather or whatever that may affect the spread of COVID-19, let's say, case with core security services, but also the data are annotated, and actually the COVID sandbox provides a data catalog that can be easily searched and filtered and provide through queries the necessary subset of data to the interested third parties. So in case a solution provider joins but has no clinical data and needs to take advantage of clinical data from our clinical partners or other clinical partners that will join as a team, they can actually be able to access this data through the querying and the APIs that we'll provide to them. We will also provide APIs all the way to healthcare providers, to clinical providers to ingest their data. And in case you come as a team, then your clinical partner will do the same, following the common data schema of the data sandbox. Of course, if it is a specific type of data, we need to know what is this data. And if it is a unique data and only usable by a single solution, still, if the solution is innovative and needs to test, it could be of use, but ideally this data we would expect to be exploitable also from other solutions, so that their solutions are tested again to be assessed and benchmarked, for example, to demonstrate how well they behave with diverse clinical data sets. So there is a potential for you to do that. I understand that without using the sandbox, you already have the solution yourself, but the idea of the COVID-X is not only to find single independent solutions, if fully understood.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So let's try to summarize the set of questions we have here. So
there is another question about matchmaking. Well, I
yes,
think there are a couple of them. So I will share with you, and this will be useful for everyone, a LinkedIn group that we have created for matchmaking opportunities between participants. So there you can make some networking activities and connect with other potential applicants. Have already sent it through the chat box.
so please use that if you want also to use the F6 chat. You can post it there, but I would say that the primary goal of that LinkedIn group is to provide the matchmaking, so please use that. And there is another solution with another question. I think in general it's about matchmaking with our clinical partners. So there is on the guideline for applicants, there is a table of which challenges are available in this first open call in which partner or clinical partner, and the number of teams that they can accommodate to work with them on the first call. If you go to the section of matchmaking, that's how you are going to select the team. So the highest ranking team proposing a challenge that is accommodated or developed by one clinical partner will be the one selected, and so forth. So, and the reason we have a limited capacity on the clinical partners is because we want to do a good job with you. We want to support you. And mostly from the ethical side, we have a finite capacity in all clinical partners. So that's why we cannot accommodate more than 2 to 3 teams per partner now.
Yes.
Again, a question on TRL. So it's very difficult for us to assess the processes. Again, machine learning and AI and healthcare, it's a very difficult topic. So what we request for this is that you be as complete as possible in your application, so that you can assess, or our experts can assess, if you are close or not to being able to go to the market. Magnus, if the product has been tested in other parts of the world, means that it's closer to the market, so it's, I would say, a good candidate for our project. Correct, Alberto?
Yeah. The only thing is that applicants should be from an H2020 country, and there is need to be a company established in Europe. I don't know if it is the case or not, but it seems that you have tested the project in other countries or whatever. So please note that you need to be from an H2020 country eligible.
Yes, that's the case.
Okay.
European company that has tested in other parts of the world, but not in Europe.
Okay, perfect. So perfect candidate, indeed. That's the
Cross technology. Yeah, you go ahead, please.
Yeah, so does this lead to a contract with a hospital caregiver, or is the aim more a test or proof of concept? Is this about the diagnosis COVID, or more in general to keep patients with chronic and other risk away from the physical care meetings? We have a solution for remote care in general. So I don't even know if you are referring to the already made challenges that we have included in the program for applying to the team solution, to the single player solution. In any case, after the evaluation, you will be asked to sign a sub-grant agreement with the consortium in order to pay you the amount that we have, well, to pay you the financial support. And you are also asked to sign consortium agreement with the clinical partner, which is a kind of contract between you and the hospital. The aim, as mentioned by Antonio, is to bring your innovations to the market. So after the competition of the program, during the program you will need to make some proof of concepts and feasibility study. But after the competition of the program, you will need, or you are asked to be ready to be on the market. And we are covering diagnosis, prognosis, and I don't remember the other one. And diagnosis, prognosis, which one?
Continuity.
Yeah, follow up. Yeah,
Follow up.
Yeah, challenges.
Before we keep, there was a question sent just to me, but I will answer it for everybody, which is because it's relevant for everybody. And the question is, are companies based in UK still eligible for this funding? And the answer is yes. We have official confirmation from the Commission that they are. There are only a few programs in H2020 where they are not electable, but for the sake of this call, UK companies are electable. And I think we have a number of questions after this that are related with the use of the sandbox. My understanding is that we already answered most of these, but the use of the sandbox is mandatory for everyone. We will, of course, make the deployments on our clinical partners, but it will need to mediate the access from your projects to the data on your healthcare providers in your consortium. And there are a number of reasons for this, to foster security, but also it will enable your solutions to scale up. So in the next version of the COVID sandbox, we will again enable federated data sets, and it will help you scale up for other data sets and for other clinical partners. This is correct, Sophia. Can you help me here, or?
Yes, this is correct. Of course, for the ones that would capitalize on data, the same, however, applies for the ones that will also propose medical devices that could be used also at other clinical partners to test.
Okay, so we cannot provide assessments on individual programs. There are a number of questions on this, if they are electable or not. So our recommendation is please go to the guideline for applicants and check the eligibility criteria, the scope of the call, and look into your solutions and check if you are in the scope of our call. There are a number of questions again on the CE marking. To be pretty clear, it's if you do need CE marking, and you are the ones that know your solutions, if you do need CE marking, you will need to address that. If you need to be certified as a medical device, please be aware that there is the change, or in May 2021, the regulation on medical devices comes into force. So there are actually two timelines, one before May this year and the other one after May this year. So you need to be aware of that. And in your applications, provide enough evidence that we can use to make a fair assessment of your proposal. And if you are to move ahead in the program, we will cross-check the information that you are giving in your application in the interview. And the purpose of the interview is exactly to make sure that we are choosing interesting projects to fight the pandemic. Roberto, do you see any other questions we should answer now, or should we open the floor for people that want more clarification?
Yeah, so I think the last question is repeated. So it's our product is a software, not a device. Is the CE certificate needed? Which is related with your last words. But I would say if you need CE mark, then justify it in the proposal. If you don't need CE mark, justify why you don't need CE mark and which is your strategy to be compliant with the European regulation.
So I suggest that if you have other questions, please open your microphone and just ask them live. So,
hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, this is Luis. Hello, thank you for having this time with us. I made a question about a system composed by both hardware and software, based, of course, on AI and machine learning. Is also suitable for this call?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
question is yes. And Sophia
okay.
mentioned
yes, medical devices. Yeah.
Yes. And Sophia mentioned when she presented the architecture that there are services on the SANDBOX to inject data into the platform.
Okay, good. And my second question addressed to you on the chat is also related with the CE marking, because as far as now, if a company doesn't know if it want to consider its solution technology as a medical device, but only a research use only device, what should be so the criteria for the proposal for this call?
We are not looking for research. We are looking for solutions that
can be addressed at okay.
Can be used in clinical sites and help fight the pandemic. So
okay. Thank you very much for the clarification.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. Laura, please go ahead. Good morning.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. I have a very technical question about the application itself. I was slightly confused looking at this Word document. So in these first sections, like 2 and 3, do I understand correctly that we're supposed to type the answers over the questions? And we are given one page to do this?
No, you can extend the page. So it's a Word template. You write
yes
what you need. So actually there was a typo when we launched the call. We didn't include the page limit, and we are not going to do so now. But please be advised that although the hard limit is the 30 megabytes that the platform allows you to upload, please consider that more is not always better. Okay, so please be concise in your answers.
Also
But
because
yeah,
also,
go ahead.
yeah, also because evaluator has have limited time, so yeah. Be
Is there
concise in
some
your-
recommendation? Is there some recommendation about this? How much roughly you're expecting these things to be explained? Like in terms of pages, like if you had included the page limit, what would it have been?
That's a good question and a very difficult one to answer, because, for example, related with C marking and TRL levels, it may require a lot of information for you to convince us that, for example, you don't need the C marking and your software is fully compliant with the regulation. So please don't ask us how many pages, because it will be, I think, misleading for you. Be
Thanks.
as concise as possible, use as much space as you need, but just don't overdo it. Consider that the evaluators will have roughly 2 hours to understand your proposal and grade it. So if it takes more than 2 hours to read, you are not in a safe spot. Thank you for your question, though. Do you have any other questions for today? Okay, so if you don't, please go to the F6S portal, start your application, download the templates, collect the signatures as soon as possible. As in all open calls, people tend to submit the applications in the last minute. It's never a good idea. Okay, please try to submit as soon as possible. I would say a day ahead. If you do need support from us, just ask in the chat, come privately if it's a technical situation. But please take your time in filling the proposal, and please do it ahead of time. Our team will be sending you reminders, but it's your job to do a good proposal. Robert, anything else you want to add?
Not from my side. Good luck to everyone. And yeah, so you have 7 days ahead for making a good proposal. So go for it.
Okay. So thank you all. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. The recording will be made available in our website as soon as Zoom processes it and YouTube allows the upload. So a couple of hours and it will be available. The other 2 webinars are already available. Please go there if you need any more information. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.